Well, hello and welcome to my kitchen, which is decorated for this video. Um, I have been requested to talk about my camera equipment, so that's what I'm going to do today. I will start off by saying I don't have right now my D80, which is the first camera I ever owned, the first semi-professional camera, I'd rather. Um, I borrowed it to a friend that is going to help me out for shooting the festival, the Rock Fest in Montebello, Quebec, which is next week. It's going to be awesome. I think there's still some tickets left if you are wanting to see that festival. It's still available. So, or meet me. I can take pictures of you or something. Oh man, that sounded weird. But anyway, it's spur of the moment kind of thing. I just filmed the same exact video, but probably 100 times better than what I will do in this one. But it wasn't filming, so that sucks. But let's proceed. So I bought my D80 from Nikon in 2008. And I had the regular lens that came with it. It was an 18-105, 3.5, 5.6, and it was really good to begin with. I would recommend for any beginner photographer to start with a semi-professional camera instead of going with a full professional camera, even if you have the money for it. I would say because you're gonna adapt to a DSLR, and you won't be confused with all of the functionalities, all of the options that are presented to you, because it's still semi-automatic for a lot of things. That way you can already adapt and learn a lot from your first camera, which will be a lot cheaper and all that. So you can get, you can just do a lot more experience and trial and error with it. And then when you pass to a higher grade camera, you'll really see the difference. You'll be already used to the manual settings, and you know it will just be easier to come with to work with the newer, the higher grade version, than if you start with it and be confused by it. So that's my suggestion for this. Why I personally chose Nikon over Canon, even though there are a lot of good DSLRs now on the market. When I started off, Nikon and Canon were still the primary, the biggest brands of professional cameras. And still at that point, professional cameras were not filming. So that's a different branch if you want to film. I'm talking specifically for photography. So I don't know if I said this, but why I chose Nikon over Canon is for a silly reason, but it's really the reason, because of their gold lines, their gold thingies. I just loved the gold. I found that they looked so much cooler than the Canons. The Canon has red. I don't know if their lenses are still like that, but most of them, they have the red, and most Nikons have the gold, and I just so much love gold, the gold color. So that's why I went with it. But now that I've been shooting with it for many years, I've gotten used to it, and I prefer their settings, and I prefer their way of zooming, and I prefer their grip, which is all differences of one and another. There's another difference that I found in the quality of the images from Nikon to Canon, And I would say that Canon has better colors. It's more real. It's more... I just really prefer the color of Canon. I feel like it's more natural. I find that the Nikon colors are like too saturated and a little bit too much towards the yellow side. And it's things that you can adjust in your camera, but since you have to adjust them, I feel like it's like forced, and I just don't like that side of it. But I shoot a lot in low light or natural lights or, you know, concerts, which vary a lot. And I need to have a wide range of ISO, and I need my ISO at higher range to not be too grainy. And I find that Nikon has a better gesture, yeah, I don't know how else to say than gesture, of grain on the ISO. Like you can push your ISOs higher without losing too much detail and sharpness, which I find Canon is a little rougher on that part. And the color part, like it's easier to work on colors afterwards on your computer than it is to readjust the grain and reduce the grain, because it's still not the natural image. It's a lot simpler, I find, to just work on the colors than to reduce the grain on your image without losing too much detail, because that's you're kind of just blurring out the picture to reduce the grain, and I'm not so much into that. I prefer my images to be sharp, even though their colors are maybe not perfect. So that's the reason why I chose Nikon. I wouldn't mind going to Canon. Like I am open to other types of cameras of other brands, but all my equipment now is in Nikon, so I don't see why I would, unless really there's something phenomenal coming out, better than, like, way lifetimes better than Nikon. But for now, I'm really happy with what I have. This camera, okay, did I say it's the D800? Yes, it is. So the D800 is not the newest one. I think there's the D850 that's coming out or something like that. It sounds like it's gonna be phenomenal, but whatever. I'm not even looking, because I don't want to be tempted to buy another thing like this, another super expensive thing like this. And anyway, I'm super satisfied with her. Yes, it's a her. My Nikons are hers. Okay, now let's move on to the lenses. So on this right now, I have the Tamron 2875 2.8. I have the Tamron version because it costed about $600, when the Nikkor by Nikon lens of the same thing is like $2,000 and up. So it's really a big difference. But I find it's also a really big difference in quality. I know a lot of people sometimes even prefer the Tamron and Sigma brands for the lenses, but the ones that I tried, I really prefer the Nikkor by many miles, let's say it that way. But still, it's better than nothing. I'm happy I have it. I don't have it $2,000 to put into the other lens. So for now, it will do. This lens is good for landscapes, for portraits, for crowds, for wider shots, for closer shots, whatever you want. I think it's a macro as well. It's a macro. So that means I can do like really close-up shots of like insects or water drops or stuff like that. So that's cool. It's a cool lens. I like it. It's just far from the sharpness of what could offer a Nikon lens. Not saying all Nikon lenses are good, but the 2875 is known for an epic lens. So in the future, I would really like to replace my Tamron lens by the actual Nikon lens. Next, I have my Nikon 50mm, and this it's a 1.8, so it lets in a lot of light and it has a lot of blur. Like you can have a lot, your background can be very, very blurry. This is my newer one because I had a 50mm 1.4, and that one was so cool. It was so cool, but I dropped it in London, and it bent. It bent near the lens, and because of that, the focus was like it couldn't do automatically. I had to force it to go over the bump of the lens. So I kind of needed a newer one, but it's not too expensive. It's under $200, and I think that every photographer should have a 50mm in their bag, because this has such good sharpness and has a lot of like a wide range of light and blur, and you can just do so many awesome things with it. The portraits, they come out super amazing. Really good quality lens for the price, especially. I'd recommend it to everyone. You should at least have one. Maybe it shouldn't be your main lens, because you can't zoom or have a wide angle, but if you want quality, and especially if you're into portrait photography, you should get one. Last but not least, this is my favorite of all lenses. It is currently in a leg warmer because I didn't buy it new and it didn't come with the casing. It came though with the front protection, the back protection, which I don't have the original anymore because I lose all my shit. But at least I put a transparent thing on it. I don't even know the names of half of my equipment. But anyways, so I will reveal this. I call her my bazooka because, well, it's bigger, and because I shoot most of my things with this, like in concerts. This is my lens. This is the bomb. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I couldn't say it enough. I couldn't. Okay, now we have again the gold tag here and the gold little thingies. I just love the Nikon lenses for all of those reasons. Okay, but not just the physical, of course. This is the 70-200 2.8 lens, and it's the sharpest. It's the most wonderful. I know that the 2870 from Nikon, I think, I said I know, but I think it's pretty much as sharp as this one, but since I don't have it, I can't really tell the difference. I just know that this one is so great, so great. The images are so sharp. I bought it when I still was using my D80. And even though my D80 is far from the best camera out there, it's really outdated and slow and grainy and like a little bit poor quality. But you put this lens on it, and it doesn't show. I mean, you still take amazing pictures. Look, almost all the pictures that are in the back of me, I know you don't see very well, but actually all of the pictures in the back of me were made with this lens and my D80. And they are some of my best shots ever in my portfolio. Oh shit. Wouldn't have been cool if it fell, but it fell a few times, and I mean, this camera is so resistant. I know it's a black and white, you can't really tell, but it has no grain. It's so sharp. This was taken at the Bell Center, I think. So the Bell Center is kind of dark still. It's not an exterior venue, so you still have to have a good range of light coming in and all that. And it came out still really awesome, and it's taken with my old camera with this lens. So if you're a concert photographer or want to get into concert photography, I would so recommend this one. I would recommend the 2870 before, because if you're just starting off, you're probably not going to be doing big venues like the bigger venues or festivals or stuff like that. So if you're in a small concert or stuff like this, you won't need such a big lens, because this is when you're further away from the stage. And if you're further away from the stage and you're a photographer, it's because the stage is big or wide or just really large, and to have certain angles you need to be able to zoom. But if you're in a small venue, you need to be able to have wider shots, which this one cannot provide for you. But when I started in photography, I started pretty big because of my uncle who is in the music industry, and I had to rent it because I didn't have this lens. I still had the regular lens that came with the D80, and I wanted to make better pictures than just what was offered with the regular stuff, whatever. I wanted to have a step up, and I didn't have the money to pay for this because I think it's close to $3,000 if you buy it new. But I think it costed like $50 a night for me to, or a day, whatever, for me to rent it. So it was a lot cheaper to rent it, and I did. But I kept renting it and renting it and renting it, and it came up to a point where I was renting it so much, I was like, I spent what, $500 and more just renting it. I think I should put it on the side and buy it for myself. So I found it online. Well, I went to see it before I bought it there. I didn't buy it like on Amazon, and I don't know what I get, but I bought it from just someone, and I was able to deal it to $1,600. The person needed money and whatever. They didn't need their camera equipment and all that. So I bought it $1,600. Greatest deal I've ever done. I think I borrowed the money, but like since then, I mean, I've been using it over and over and over and over again. It's my favorite lens, and I so have no regrets towards buying this lens. So enough about my bazooka. I should move on to my flash. I don't use a flash very much, but I just started using it a little bit more. It's the SB900. This is a great flash. It's maybe too expensive for the times that I used it, but still, at least I have a great flash, and again, I don't regret it. It's super resistant. It went into water because I once, after my D880, I wanted to step up with a camera, and I bought a D7000. And I bought the flash, I think a little bit before, but in the same area. And I brought it to, I was near water, okay, there was waves, and I put my camera equipment near the shore, and suddenly huge waves came in and they took my camera equipment, and my D7000 was finished garbage. I brought it to Nikon to get it fixed. They couldn't do anything about it. And this one, I don't know how it survived, but it did perfectly. When I opened the battery thing, I can even see like the damage it caused inside, but it's still working like a charm. And it's been like 7 years since that incident. Another thing about this, besides how impressed I am by its resistance to things, to life. Okay, I have these Sony batteries, and I would recommend this to anyone for anything, actually. If you need AA batteries or whatever kind of batteries you need, take some rechargeable batteries. Okay, this is the best thing ever. It's so handy, and they last so long. Don't take a cheap kind. But like my Sony ones there, whoa, I think I charge them once every year or maybe every 2 years. Okay, yeah, I don't use my flash a lot, but still, they're not losing their charge, and they also went in the water with everything else, and I can see the damage around them, but they're still working perfectly. Really impressed by this is why I prefer quality than quantity. I prefer not having something than having crap. Something else I bought recently for the flash is this. And this was really cheap. I bought it off Amazon. And I'm kind of happy I did, because I actually like my flash a lot better now. Because it's a soft box for my flash. It's so cute. So my flash, I could use it as a soft box, you know, with the stand and something. I can put it somewhere else and shoot, but I would need an adapter for my, I think I would need an adapter for my camera, and I don't have the money for it for now. So I just put it directly on here. I just prefer my flash with this thing on. Yep, by far. I would recommend also. I don't know how much I paid for it, but I know it was really not expensive. I think it was less than $20. So that's cool. What else? Okay. Now for a pro tip for concert photography. It doesn't really have anything to do with photography itself, but I highly, highly recommend, if you're in concert photography, earplugs. Okay, I have like professional, they're made for music earplugs. Protect your ears. It's so important. When you're in front of the stage, you're right next to the speakers. It can get really loud. You're in front of the drums. Just protect your ears. This is my wonderful bag. It's brand new. I'm not gonna bring it to the Rock Fest because I don't want to screw it up. I'm probably gonna use my old bag that's all broken, but I don't mind getting it dirty and getting it more broken. This is the first nice camera bag that I have, and I want to keep it nice. And this is my tripod, which is super important when you're doing self-portraits. I've done a lot of self-portraits when I was traveling without my tripod, but it's a lot more complicated. You have to find an angle and find something to like level your camera and stuff, and you have to like crawl underground to see what you're doing. Yeah, so if you can use this, use it. It's really good. That's it for now. I hope it was interesting. I hope that it helped. I hope that it answered questions. And thank you very much for watching. See you next time.